Update. My 27 male, wife, 28 female, returned from a work retreat with a hickey. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I'm at loss. How do I move forward? Original post. I am in a fight with my wife. We've had fights before, but never this bad. I'm at a loss on how to proceed. For context, we're college sweethearts and have been married for almost 6 years. We have a daughter, 4 female. Our relationship was never perfect or without challenges. We've faced some family opposition due to cultural differences, but we've made it work. She's my first love and my best friend. My wife works in corporate. Her job has annual work retreats that last about a week. This year, it was in Vegas. I usually arrange my work schedule to tag along with her, and we make a trip out of it. We couldn't this year. Our daughter gets major anxiety traveling long distances. We're working on it, but she wasn't budging, and we decided to pick our battles. So I stayed behind and held down the fort at home. The change of plans was a bummer because the trip was part of how we reconnected as both a couple and a family. My wife's work hours have taken a toll, and her work-life balance leaves much to be desired. We entertained the idea of her skipping the retreat. Attendance is optional, but it's generally frowned upon if you don't go, and my wife is making connections in her field. She grew increasingly weird. We have a system if either of us is away for an extended period. We keep in contact. For the first day or so, she was herself, but then she grew distant. I'd text her about important stuff and be left on read, while she later claimed she never saw my texts. Whenever we talked, she was rushing me or our daughter off the phone. These were all times she wasn't involved in retreat activities. We were supposed to have a mini birthday celebration for our daughter over FaceTime. Our daughter was excited. It was something my wife promised because the retreat overlapped with her actual birthday. But my wife backed out because she had people up in her room after a seminar. It was like she wanted my permission to break her promise to our daughter. I told her I wasn't going to give that, nor was I going to make her keep her word. She said I wasn't being fair and that this was a networking opportunity, that these were business-oriented people and wouldn't understand her stepping away for family time. I told her her decision was her decision, but she would have to explain it to our daughter. She promised she'd rain check for the following day. Our daughter didn't understand and cried. My wife ended up hanging up, leaving me to comfort our daughter alone. That whole incident rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it. She didn't keep her word for the rain check either. She was documenting the retreat on social media. One coworker, 23 male, was in almost every pic and video, practically attached to her hip. In one photo, he had his arm around her way too comfortably, in my opinion. He's a recent hire in my wife's department. She was asked to oversee him. I don't like the guy. He doesn't know boundaries. Once, in response to a work assignment, he texted my wife that she's exactly the kind of woman he needs to keep him in check. My wife brushed it off. She feels bad for him because he's not fitting in. She took him under her wing during his first retreat with the team. Whenever I questioned her about the retreat, she said she was tired or networking. There was always something, but I've seen her at these retreats. This wasn't like her. Something was off. The day before her return home, she complained about a bruise on her neck. She stressed that it was a bug bite. I didn't actually see the bruise until she came home. The instant I saw it, I thought it was a full-on hickey. She had made a big deal about it over the phone, but then brushed it off when she got home. I didn't push it at first because our daughter was present. But when I was able to confront her, she clung to her bug bite claim. When I kept pushing, she asked what I was trying to imply. I outright said I believed she had hickey and that I didn't think she was being honest with me. That's when we had it out. She was offended and mad at the accusation. Infidelity has always been a sore topic. Her family has a history of infidelity, so we had a pretty bad fight, and she accused me of looking to pick a fight because of the incident with our daughter's birthday. I told her it had nothing to do with that, and everything to do with the hickey on her neck. The fight ended in an impasse. We're still not recovered. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I've always trusted my wife. I never doubted her. But this bruise doesn't look like a bug bite. It looks like a hickey. That feeling only grows when I consider how distant and weird she was during the Vegas retreat. Now, she's wearing turtlenecks every day, and we're caught between arguing and her dousing our daughter and me with affection. Communication usually prevails for us, but not this time. I think my accusation pushed us to a new level of argument. I'm at a loss here. I really need outside perspectives. How do I move forward? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Something fishy here for sure. I couldn't imagine bailing on my daughter's birthday for networking. Then the Hickey and the preemptive explanation that it wasn't one? I don't know. Something doesn't add up here. She is clearly full of it. Turtlenecks and love bombing? That seems suspicious for sure. You said that you usually have pretty good communication. So why don't you lay it all out for her, like you did here? 1. You noticed she was distant and uncommunicative during the trip. 2. She missed your daughter's birthday, which is a big deal and was upsetting for your kid. 3. You noticed the young coworker in a lot of her photos, and they seemed cozy and familiar. 4. Now that you've seen the bug bite she warned you about, you don't believe it's a bug bite. It looks inappropriate. Ultimately, you need to decide what you need. This is the time for boundaries. Do you want to stay with her? If so, what needs to happen so that you can have confidence in your relationship? Everything you listed here, I pretty much did. She avoided answering specifics and said I was looking to pick a fight over our daughter's birthday. With the coworker, she said it was his first retreat with the team and she wanted him to feel included. She always has some defense for him. Now for the update a week later. I wanted to give an update and thank everyone who reached out. The outside perspectives helped. Things have been a roller coaster. I'm trying to process everything. It took a while for my wife and me to have any real conversation about the bruise on her neck. We were stuck between arguing and her showering our daughter and me with affection. I rarely saw the bruise because she was always wearing turtlenecks, but I did note the healing process from reddish purple to yellow. There wasn't any more discussion about the Vegas retreat. She made it clear she was done talking about it and that she shouldn't have to defend herself to her husband. I told her she could do whatever she wanted, but I was done being treated like an idiot, and I wasn't sharing a bed with someone I couldn't trust. So I moved into the guest room. Communication stopped. The silences were palpable. Even our daughter noticed. I'm not proud of that. I try to keep her out of fights. One night, my wife came to the guest room and asked if we could talk. I could tell she had been crying. She said she hated the way things were between us. She felt she was losing me either way. I told her I needed complete honesty. That's when she confessed. She had hooked up with that coworker on our daughter's birthday. The Hickey was from him. She said she got caught up in the moment and didn't realize he was sucking so hard on her neck. By her account, they made out, engaged in some over-the-clothes stuff, and then he went down on her. It stopped there because he called her by a nickname that I affectionately call her. That snapped her back to the reality of what she was doing. She went to splash water on her face and saw the Hickey. The guy made light of it, joking that the Hickey was her souvenir. She blew up on him and kicked him out of her suite. Part of the reason she was avoiding me was out of guilt. She said she was coming clean because she didn't want to hide things anymore. I asked her why she cheated. What was it about him that she deemed worth risking everything? She claimed it wasn't about him specifically, nor was she unhappy with our marriage. She said she didn't really know how to explain it, but a part of her felt broken. The more she looks in the mirror, the more she sees her dad, 57 male, a cycle of being consumed with work, distant from family, and the infidelity he put her mom, 55 female, through. She said her family never talked about anything openly, and that when she was growing up, my mother-in-law never addressed anything with her. I told her, "Your parents didn't make you cheat. She chose to party with a guy who has constantly disrespected our relationship. These were all her decisions. And at any point, she could have chosen our family." She agreed. She wanted to blame her parents but realized this was on her. She apologized for cheating and for entertaining the guy's advances. She said she would do whatever it takes to repair things. Go to HR, quit her job, counseling, anything. She wants to make everything right. I told her I don't know what right looks like or if that's even possible for us anymore. I knew we had our problems, but I thought there wasn't anything we couldn't talk through. She insisted we still could talk through this. We didn't have to give up on us. She tried giving this rallying cry for our relationship, but I felt numb. I told her I didn't recognize her, not just because of the betrayal of our vows, but because of how she treated our daughter. She feels she has failed as a wife and a mother, but she says she loves us beyond words and wants our life together and our family intact. I told her I couldn't give her the answer she wanted and that I thought we needed to separate and reevaluate. She didn't want separation. She felt we should stay together in our home, but I told her a separation was happening. Either she was leaving the home or I was leaving with our daughter. She consented to leaving so as not to uproot our daughter too much. She just asked that our daughter not be taken away from her. My wife is now staying with my in-laws. I know that's difficult for her because she doesn't have the best relationship with her parents. One of the hardest parts is the shift for our daughter. Right now, she believes her mom is just busy with work as usual. She hasn't questioned it much. My mother-in-law called the other day. She made no excuses for my wife, but is advocating for us to work through it. She told me about times when she had heard my wife describe me as the anchor she always wanted. She believes there's something worth fighting for if I'm open to it. Despite some family opposition we faced throughout our relationship, my mother-in-law was always a supporter of us. I'm even more at a loss. I never imagined this kind of betrayal from my wife. She was my safe place. I feel numb yet broken. I'm in love with her. That hasn't changed. But I don't see myself, her, our relationship, or our family the same way anymore. Everything is more tense because this is still fresh. I think this period of separation is for the best. I'm not sure about divorce. I haven't let myself fully go there yet. I'm not set either way. I don't know where things go from here, but for now, I'm focusing on our daughter and taking things one step at a time. That's all I feel I can do right now. Thanks again to everyone for the support. It's much appreciated. Do you think she's still trickle-truthing you? How would the coworker know your nickname for her? OP, also think about this part of your comment whenever your wife tells you she is sorry. Cheating on you is one thing, but your wife's behavior towards her daughter is sickening. Yeah, you don't get to disconnect from being a parent, especially to a minor, for extended holidays. You certainly don't ghost them on their birthday, and when you promise to do something special for them and got the child excited about it, or hang up on them while they're crying. Good luck onwards. I was just on a work trip with a coworker who has a couple of little kids similar in age to OP's. He had arranged his travel times to make it easier on them and went back to the hotel to call them every night. Nothing about how the wife is acting is normal or okay. Yep, I was that person when I traveled a lot for Corp. I once interrupted a meeting with my executive and a higher-up in our company in Vegas to go FaceTime my kid at 7 p.m. home time. They understood, knew it was my rule. It's kind of standard for good parents and partners to care about them and build in time on travel for daily check-ins. OP deserves better. Ask her if she would be open to reconciliation if you had cheated with a coworker, hurt her daughter, gaslighted her, and made her feel like an idiot for questioning you. Also, if you think it stopped Adam going down on her, I have a bridge in Brooklyn I'll sell you super cheap. When I read that part, I was like, oh, the trickle-truthing begins. Next story. Update. Not wanting my girlfriend to travel with a guy she slept with. Original post. My girlfriend is going on a trip with a guy she has known for 8 years, with whom she has slept in 2017 and 2023, the latest being several times over 3 months just before we got together. They have previously traveled together while having partners, and nothing happened. But one time they may have kissed while blackout drunk, but she is now sober and committed to her sobriety. She has assured me that they are truly just friends, and that if they had wanted a relationship, they would have pursued it. She claims the only reason they were sleeping together was that they were single and had no one else around. Every year, a group of 4 friends, including him, travels to a new country for 2 weeks. She doesn't want to cancel trips with these people who are important to her. She has described him as one of her very close friends and reiterates that there are no romantic feelings and that she should be trusted. She planned her next trip without consulting me in the very early stages of our relationship. The trip is coming up very soon, and I am feeling very uncomfortable about it. We are discussing ending our otherwise great relationship over this, but she has stated that this is non-negotiable, as they travel every year and will continue to do so. Would I be wrong if I threw away a great relationship over this? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Are you invited next year? What happens if and when you get married? I don't know, man. My best advice? Tell her to marry him, cause no good man is gonna marry her and stay through this every year. Best of luck. No, not invited next year, and will never be invited. It's a for friends tradition thing. She cheated on a previous partner of hers with him, and all she will admit to her current boyfriend is a drunken kiss. That doesn't mean that's all that happened, OP. Your days are numbered, friend. Every year for 2 weeks she's going to be with this guy. You don't think he's going to be preying on your downfall? You think he's some kind of stand-up guy where you are the only thing standing between him and banging her on these vacations, and you don't think he's going to be trying to undermine it? They only hooked up because they were single, except that one time she wasn't single, but she promises it was just a drunken kiss. Jeez, dude, your goose is cooked. The guy doesn't want OP out of the picture. He knows he's got her as much as he wants her 2 weeks every year. If he wanted her more than that, he would have already done it. Now for the update 9 months later. So this was a while ago. What 9 months? And yes, Redditors, you were right. I should have kicked her to the curb then, but stupid me dragged it out for 9 months. Firstly, a bit of context. None of us are from the same country or even live in our countries. We are a pretty international bunch, so lots of travel is normal. We all travel about 6 times a year and also work abroad in international roles. Niche, yes. So her and FWB did their little tradition trip, and I agreed on the compromise this was the last one and she would take a step back from him after. While she was on said trip with F-Buddy, I moved to Australia and set up our housing and car, etc. and got a job. We had been traveling together for 6 months before that, and my last post was from on the road, Maldives. So she arrived in Australia and announced that I need to get over my insecurities, but she will take a communication break from him for a while to allow our relationship to have a chance. We were happily living our new life for a couple of months when I saw a notification on her phone from him. So her idea of a communication break was no DMs. But they still chatted regularly in an old group chat. They were swiping each other's names and replying. Yet she couldn't comprehend that this was a communication break because it was the group chat, so it didn't count. I should have walked then, but I'm a dumbass who gave another chance. But I doubled down and said I want this guy out of your life if we will have a chance. Or if you need him, that it's fine, but I leave. She again agreed until it turns out she didn't like my ultimatum, so messaged him anyway as an act of defiance. Her words. I finally walked, only a year too late. Currently working on my anxious attachment and why I put up with this nonsense. Always judge people by their actions, not their excuses or promises. She is not in love with you or committed to a long-term relationship with you. Also, a little more context. She cheated on her ex multiple times, but demanded I unconditionally trust her with this guy. Damn, bro. Sorry you dealt with blatant disrespect. Yeah, man. And then gaslit that I was insecure. This is the kind of woman who would rationalize banging him because there's no love or attraction there, but she really loves you. So the sex means more. I would bet cold hard cash they hooked up on that trip and will do so every time they get together. It took you a while, but you did the right thing. Yeah, I struggled with that one. I don't love him, it's just sex, but I love you, blah blah freaking blah.